Hello and welcome to this new user series webinar, Communication and Discipline. My name is Brian Wall. I am a member of the New School Onboarding Team and Sports Training Team here at JMC, as well as being a Client Services Specialist. I joined JMC 2 years ago after I retired from education. I spent 10 years in the classroom as a high school math teacher and coach, and then the last 24 years of my career as a building principal at high school and middle school levels. Today I'm joined by Greg Appleby. Greg, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure, Brian. I'm Greg Appleby, and I've been a client service specialist with JMC for 2 years after retiring from a 34-year career in education in Nebraska. I'm located in north central Nebraska, and I was a principal for the last 22 years. We used JMC for the last 10 years that I was a principal. So we're looking forward to working with JMC and working on communication and discipline today, Brian.
All right. Sometimes when Greg and I introduce ourselves, we sound like we're repeating each other, but we've followed very similar career tracks to arrive at this point.
Yes, we have.
When disciplinary infractions happen, we're here to help your team efficiently manage those incidents through JMC's discipline and communication modules so that your district can then guide students back on the path to success. In this two-part training, we dig into our discipline module, where you can easily record and report on student behavior. We then take a look at JMC's communication module for detailed tracking of all interactions, disciplinary included, giving you the confidence to answer any questions. So setting up the discipline module and looking at editing problem behaviors. At JMC, we recognize that every school has its own special way of managing discipline, a way that resonates with its unique mission and student community. That's why we've made our discipline module to be as flexible and accommodating as possible, making it easy for your office staff to pinpoint and select from predefined behaviors that are encountered often, as well as adding any number of user-defined problem behaviors with just a few simple steps. Customize the problem behaviors used on your school's discipline records by going to Discipline, Data, Edit Problem Behaviors. Step 1. Click the Edit link next to the problem behavior in the predefined problem behaviors field to mark that behavior as frequently used. Helpful tip, making a predefined problem behavior, marking it as frequently used, will sort those problem behaviors to the top of the list when filling out a student discipline record. Step 2. Review the predefined problem behaviors carefully before adding any of your own user-defined problem behaviors to avoid duplications between the two sets. Step 3. Click the Edit link next to a row in the user-defined problem behaviors list to edit a behavior or choose a blank row to enter a new problem behavior. Step 4. Enter the behavior as you would like it to appear to staff when they need to enter a discipline infraction in the name field. Helpful tip, delete the text from the name field to remove a behavior from the list. Step 5. Click the Update link on the row you're editing to save the changes to the selected behavior, or click the Cancel link to discard your changes. Step 6. Click the Print button to print the entire list of problem behaviors. So let's take a live look at editing problem behaviors. So in JMC Office, at the building level, we're going to go to Discipline, Data, Edit Problem Behaviors. The top half of the page is going to include predefined problem behaviors. These may be determined by your state reporting requirements for the various states. We're looking at an Iowa database today, and so it may vary a little bit if you're in one of our other states. The bottom half is our user-defined problem behaviors. So you don't have any control over what the predefined problem behaviors actually say. The only thing we can do with the editing is that if we have a predefined problem behavior that we know we're going to use frequently, I might mark that one. Let's see here. What's one that maybe bull or disrespect? We think that happens fairly frequently. By marking that as a frequently used behavior, it's just simply going to bump that up to the top of the pull down when teachers go in to enter discipline on their end. After you've reviewed your predefined behaviors, now you can add any additional problem behaviors user-defined that you may want to have in your system. We've got a number here in this demo database. If I wanted to add a behavior, I just would find an empty row, I'd click edit, and now I can type in whatever I want in here to add a new behavior to my list. Again, think about what you're adding in the user-defined. Make sure you're not duplicating any of your predefined problem behaviors. Anything you'd like to add while we're in this window, Greg?
No, Brian, I just think it, again, important that you verify, go through that list at the top, ones that you don't see that you know you're going to have in your school, add to those user-defined ones down at the bottom.
All right, sounds good. All right, we will move on to the next section then.
We're going to go over editing actions, Brian. The discipline module in JMC refers to the outcome of a student's problematic behavior as an action. While there are a set of typical predefined actions available, it's likely that your school has specific actions that are not listed. To incorporate these unique actions into the discipline module, you can review the predefined actions in JMC Office and add new actions as necessary in the user-defined section. To start customizing the list of actions, log into JMC Office and head to Discipline, Data, Edit Actions. Step 1, click the Edit link in the User-Defined Actions list to edit an existing action or define a new action from a blank row. Step 2, enter a name for the action in the appropriate field under the name column to define the action taken by the school as a result of the problem behavior. Helpful tip, delete the text from the name field to remove an action that is no longer used or an action that may have been entered in error from the list. Step 3, click the update link to save your action name or the cancel link to discard your changes. Step 4, click the print button to print the entire list of user-defined actions for future reference. Helpful tip, review the predefined actions before adding your own user-defined actions to avoid duplications between the predefined list of actions and your user-defined list of actions. Fun fact, to ensure compliance with state reporting requirements, JMC includes only predefined actions in discipline data submissions to the Department of Education. This helps you accurately report discipline incidents and maintain adherence to state regulations. Time to take a look at editing actions.
Okay, so we're going to go back to the home screen here to follow the path. We're again going into discipline and data, and we're editing actions now. And very similar to the behaviors, we've got predefined actions on the top half of the screen and user-defined actions on the bottom half of the screen. As Greg mentioned on the slide, the predefined actions often correspond to some of your state reporting requirements. So you can't edit the names of those at all. What can we do for editing? Oh, goodness gracious, we don't want to do that. We'll go down to the user-defined actions. Here are the ones that maybe are specific to your school or setting. Again, to edit an existing action, we click on Edit. Now I can update that, change the name of that if I'd like to. Or if I'm adding a new action, I just need to find an empty line, click Edit, and now I can type in a new action if so needed. Again, before adding a new action, be sure to review your predefined actions in the top half of the screen to make sure that you're not duplicating anything. And as in both screens, you do have the print button in case you want to print out your list of actions. Anything you'd like to add here, Greg?
No, looks good, Brian.
All right, let's move on to creating and merging discipline referrals. First, we'll look at creating and editing discipline records in JMC Office. In JMC Office, maintaining a safe and organized school environment and promoting positive behavior is a team effort. Office professionals can contribute by editing discipline records, which involves selecting a student in the discipline module, identifying problem behavior, adding relevant details, attaching necessary files, and communicating with concerned parties via email to keep them informed. This collaborative approach helps address ongoing behavior issues and ensures a positive learning environment. To add or edit a student discipline record, go to Discipline, Data, Edit Student Discipline in JMC Office. Step 1, enter the student's name in the Find field to select and then add or edit their information in JMC Office. Step 2, click the Add New button to create a new discipline record for a student, or select an existing record from the current year and click the Edit button to modify the details of a student's discipline record in JMC Office. Step 3, add the appropriate details into the discipline record, giving special attention to the highlighted fields throughout, which signify key state reporting information. Step 4, click the Save as Draft button to retain your progress, the Save as Finished button to save the changes made to the edited or newly created discipline record, or the Cancel button to discard any changes. Helpful tip: head to the Attendance Student List page to run a report on discipline unfinished records from the discipline category to view a list of all unfinished discipline records in JMC. Step 5. Select a discipline record from the Discipline Records for Current Year box to identify the specific record that you would like to email. Step 6. Click the Email Selected button to begin the process of sending a copy of the discipline record to stakeholders. Step 7. Place a check mark in the appropriate checkboxes to email the discipline record to one or more of the listed contacts. Step 8. Enter an email address in the Email To field to include any additional recipients. Fun fact: to send the discipline record to multiple recipients, separate their email addresses by commas in the Email To field. Step 9. Enter an email address in the Reply To address field to receive replies to your email discipline record. Step 10. Enter a message in the email message box to add a personal message to the discipline record email. Step 11. Place a check mark in the Create Communication Record checkbox to simultaneously create a record in JMC's Communication module, noting that an email was sent regarding the discipline infraction. Step 12. Click the Email button to email the selected contacts a copy of the discipline record. Let's take a live look at adding or editing discipline records. So, from the menu, I'm going to Discipline, Data, and now I'm going to edit student discipline. In the search field up here, I need to find the student for which I wish to enter a record. Let's grab young Greg Appleby for demonstration purposes. Greg's a little bit of a bad Appleby, if you know what I mean. We'll create a new record for Greg. We have a number of fields here, and your screen may look slightly different. Again, each state has its own discipline reporting requirements, so some of these fields may differ from one state to the next, but you'll progress through the record, filling out the fields as you go. The incidents drop-down allows you to connect incidents among multiple students. Say you had a fight, you would be able to connect all the students involved in that fight through the incident drop-down. It's going to default to the present date and time. If you want to adjust that to when the event actually occurred, you can easily click on the calendar, pick a different date if you choose. You can adjust the time as well. Behavior incident number, again, is a way of keeping track of separate incidents. In some states, this number is going to pre-populate for you. The incident reporter is who submitted it. You can either type a name in this field or you can choose this. Let me get rid of this for the moment. There we go. Or you can choose from your list of staff members to grab the name of who is submitting this particular discipline report. Location, just like it sounds, you've got a number of defined locations within the building. Say this happened in a classroom. Instructional format, if you choose to use that. Some of these fields apply if you were in a some sort of an MTSS or discipline tracking system. Again, this is a field to allow some additional information. If you want to provide some additional detail about where that location was, you can identify whether this person was the perpetrator or was a victim. And then here's your pull down for what was the specific behavior. Again, you've already defined all of these behaviors, predefined, and then your user defined. They're all going to be available in this drop down. The ones that you marked as frequently used, like disrespect, you'll notice that one jumps to the top of the drop down. And then there just are a number of additional fields to fill out related to this particular discipline referral. Again, if it's a state reporting item, there are some highlighted fields. These would be important fields that you'd want to be sure to fill out. You've got 2 action fields here. What were the actions that you took? What were those consequences? Those are coming from your actions, your predefined and user-defined actions. And you have some date fields here. If you did some sort of a removal, you can enter how long that removal was, just any number of information here. You've got 2 comment fields here as well. Comment 1 is going to be viewable. If you were to email this discipline record out to a parent, for example, anything you type in comment field number 1 is going to be viewable by a parent if you email the record. The internal comment, only viewable in JMC. So if you had some additional information that was not for parent consumption, you'd want to include that on the internal comment. Then once you've got the entire record filled out, you can save it as a draft if you think you might come back to it at a later time to do some additional editing, or if you've finished it, we go ahead and save as finished. Anything I missed here, Greg?
No, just a couple things. And now, if that were actually my record, that left side probably would be full with discipline records for the current year and prior years. But this screen will look a little bit different by state, depending upon state reporting requirements and so forth. But you just need to work through it. I think the save as draft is really important because you can save it and then come back to work on it before you finish it and send that out. And then a final reminder that this discipline referral is all from the office entering this. A teacher has not sent anything to you. You as the office school principal are probably filling that out yourself.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's a great reminder because we do have the ability to have teachers submit referrals as well. So we just got to keep track of this is a referral entered on the office side versus a referral entered by a teacher, which we'll be talking about shortly. Once that record is done, if you want to send an email out, maybe you want to notify a parent of what's going on, you click the email selected. We get this dialog box. We can choose to send it to primary contacts. We can send it to that student's advisor. We could send it to all the teachers of that particular student. We can even send it to the student themselves. We can add additional, I apologize for that coming back up all the time. You can send it to additional contacts as well, just by entering email addresses separated by a comma in the email to box. This reply to email, very important. Whatever email address appears in that reply to box, if the parent gets the discipline notice and angrily hits reply to give you the business, this email address is the person that reply is going to go to. And then you do have an email message dialog box here as well. You can add some additional information, please refer to the attached disciplinary record, because basically what it's going to do is create a short email and attach the discipline record for the parent to view. You can have it create a communication record. We're going to talk about the communication module a little bit later in this training. But by checking that box, we automatically create a communication record as well. If it's all ready to go, then I can click email, and those notifications will go off to anybody that we selected above. And that can be done at any time. You can do it right after you've created the record or at a later point in time down the road. Alrighty, let's jump back into our presentation, and I'll throw it back to Greg.
All right, we're going to look at accepting JMC teacher discipline referrals in JMC office. Unfortunately, dealing with student discipline is part of the job, and one of the most important functions of doing it well is communication. As a part of the ongoing communication between teachers and the office, JMC allows teachers to submit discipline referrals in JMC Teacher so administrators and office professionals can view them, add information, approve or reject the referral, and send communication to all stakeholders. Click the Pending Discipline Referrals link on the JMC Office homepage or navigate to Discipline Data, Merge Discipline Referrals to navigate to the Discipline Referral Processing page. Step 1. Select the student name in the Pending Discipline Records box to proceed with a discipline referral. Fun fact. Prior discipline behaviors will populate in the student history box to give you a full picture of past incidents. Step 2. Place a check mark in the appropriate checkbox to email the discipline record to one or more of the following contacts. Email primary contact, email student's primary contact as listed in JMC office, email referring teacher, email the teacher who submitted the referral, email advisor, the student's advisor, email other, someone else in an email to field to include an additional recipient, email the student, send a copy of the discipline record to the student receiving the referral. Step 3, enter a valid email in the reply to email field to send emails. Helpful tip, enter a comma between multiple email addresses in the email to field to send the discipline record to multiple contacts. Step 4, optional, place a check mark in the Create Communication Record checkbox to simultaneously create a record in JMC's communication module, noting that you emailed the primary contact regarding the discipline infraction. Helpful tip. If you placed a check mark in the Create Communication Record checkbox, head to Communication, Data, Edit Student Records to review the newly created communication record. Add details to the discipline record. Step 5, add details to the discipline record by using the drop-down lists and fields to enter or edit discipline detail information. Fun fact, the discipline referral will pre-fill some of the above fields to save you time. Step 6, click the Accept button to create the discipline record from the discipline referral, or click the Reject button to reject the referral and opt not to create a discipline record. Fun fact, once a referral is accepted, it will then appear in the student's discipline records on Discipline, Data, Edit Student Discipline, and will no longer appear in the teacher's list of pending referrals in JMC Teacher. Helpful tip, to save progress on a student discipline entry, first click the Accept button to merge the discipline record, then navigate to Discipline, Data, Edit Student Discipline. Search for the student using the Find field and select the discipline record from the Discipline Records for Current Year box. Click Edit and then Save as Draft. The In Progress Discipline entry will now be displayed in the Unfinished Discipline Records for Current Year box, allowing you to edit it at a later time. Let's take a look at submitting a referral in JMC Teacher and merging it in JMC Office.
Okay, so we are going to need to jump over here into JMC Teacher for just a moment. And we're going to create a referral on the JMC Teacher side of it. So your teachers will have discipline as an option, and they can do a discipline referral. We will grab Mr. Appleby again. Whoops, I don't have him in a class. I need to check all students in order to be able to see all students in my school. There's Greg. And very similar to the office side, I click Add New. It's going to default to the current date and time. I'm just interested in getting one in here quickly, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. We'll say that Mr. Appleby is being disrespectful. And you can see the other fields that your teachers will have the ability to fill out. They've also got a comment box. Teacher can add some detail there. I know as a principal, I always encourage teachers to put as much detail in there as possible. That gave me information as a principal that I found beneficial. Anything best practices for your teachers that you recommended, Greg?
No, I agree. Put in as much information that you can use to handle the situation. But the good thing about JMC, it doesn't go out right away. The office has to see it, and then they can talk to the teacher if they need to about making any changes to that before that becomes a type of record that's sent home.
Yeah, good point. And then that teacher simply sends to the office. Now that becomes a pending discipline referral, so the teacher can see that they've submitted it to the office. It just hasn't been acted upon in the office yet. Notice your teachers can also see accepted discipline referrals that have already gone to the office.
The teacher can make any changes to that while it's still in the pending box at the top. Once the office accepts it, then they can't make any changes to it.
That's a great point. All they have to do is highlight it and edit it, and now they could add some additional information if they want to do maybe some details that they forgot. Now on the JMC office side of it, let's go to the home screen. There's a couple of different ways that you as the office can see that you have a referral and then get to it. You always get these notifications up here in the upper right-hand corner of the white portion of the screen. See, we've got a pending discipline referral, and that's a link. So that if I were to click on that link, that's going to take me to my pending discipline referrals page. Notice there's a second way to get to this same place. I could have used my menu tree and gone to discipline, data, merge discipline referrals, would have brought me to the exact same location. Now I see I've got a pending discipline referral for Greg Appleby. I simply highlight it. Now I can see what the teacher has submitted when they created that referral. I can make some edits. I can edit all the fields that I would if I were creating this on the office side. You're going to see more on the office side than your teachers can see, just simply because you've got more responsibilities probably in terms of state reporting and that sort of thing. And as Greg mentioned, you can edit and make some changes to what the teacher has submitted. You can edit the comment. Again, you can add an internal comment if you would like. And you've got a little bit of student history for you as well to get a background of what's been going on with that student. If you feel like the record is done and ready to go and you want to go directly to emailing it out to a parent or other primary contact, you can do that right from this window. Just simply use the check boxes to select the recipients that you want to receive this email. Again, you have all the same options you did when you created that referral on the office side. You can add additional emails to that address if you want, and there is a reply email here as well. And the ability, optional if you want to create a communication record. Okay? If you don't feel like you're ready to email that out, there's nothing that says you have to do that at this time. You could just uncheck the email boxes, go down here, and here you have a decision. I can either reject that referral or I can accept it. Greg, were there any circumstances where you would reject a teacher's referral?
I would say very few that would reject it, but sometimes there's more information that comes up later that you talk with the teacher about and they do it. But I would say very rarely, generally, those are accepted.
And then once you've accepted that referral, notice I didn't check any of the emails, so nothing's going to be emailed out at this time. I can accept it. Now, if I wanted to work with that referral again, I could go back to discipline, data, edit student discipline. I've already got Greg up, frequent flyer in my office, obviously. And I can see all of Greg's referrals, including the one that just came in today. If I wanted to continue working with that referral, I could highlight it and then edit. And now I can continue to make changes, add additional information if necessary, save it as a draft so I could come back to it later, or save it as finished. Once you have saved it as finished, again, you've got the ability to send the email out at that time. So there's two different times when you have the ability to send that email: when you're processing the incoming referral from the teacher, as well as after you've processed it a little bit later. Anything else you want to throw in here, Greg?
Nope, looks good. There is a print letter button right there. Some people still like to print letters if you had to mail it out to someone, or if you wanted to print a copy for your files or for a student file.
Yep, great feature to point out there. It just pre-populates with a little bit of information that you've entered in JMC. This is all editable, so you can clean it up or add some additional comments if you'd like to. Add your name and title to it, your email address, phone number, that sort of thing. Okay, we will move on again in the presentation. So let's look at some of the discipline reports that are available in JMC. The discipline module in JMC Office is equipped with a variety of reports that offer valuable insights into student discipline records. These reports provide the necessary tools to effectively manage and analyze disciplinary data, enabling informed decision-making and the establishment of a positive disciplinary environment in your school or district. Student. Report on student infractions with each student on a separate page. View all of your student discipline records in one report for any date range within this school year. Print the report for one student or for a group of students. The discipline query, it's a report on students matching your selection criteria. Query a specific problem behavior and or consequence in a date range. Selection criteria include the number of occurrences, which problem behaviors or actions, which reporting person or persons, and other sorting and detail options. The discipline summary. This report summarizes subtotals by a variety of breakdowns. Summary of all students for a specified date range, including breakdowns by problem behavior, action, and reporting person, or view the total number and percentages of discipline referrals with a bar graph for easy review of the data. The discipline incident report is a report of all state reportable discipline incidents for the current year. List of all state reportable discipline incidents across the district for the current year, including perpetrators and victims, sorted by incident number. Print the report or export to a CSV file with additional student information, including state ID and number. Let's take a quick look at the discipline reports. All the reports are going to be found under Discipline, Data, Reports. Again, going through them each individually. The student report. Here we're printing a report either for just a single student or perhaps group of students. I have some options. Do I want to include all dates or just some specific ones? Do I want to include subtotals for each problem behavior? I can put in a date range that I'm searching within. I can include the comments that are entered for that particular record. And I do have the ability, if I want to go ahead and email this report out. I need to pick a student here. We'll go back and grab Greg because we know he's got some records. Preview. So here are all of Greg's records entered between 7/4 and 8/4 of 2025. Now that I've previewed it, I do have the ability to send that as an email if I wanted to. Or I can print it, or I can export it. Anything to add here, Greg?
No, looks good, Brian.
All right. The discipline query. Now, if I am searching for maybe a specific behavior or group of behaviors, or maybe a specific action or group of actions, I can search for them specifically. I have filters for date ranges, incident locations. I've got some sort options for how that report will be organized. And then, of course, once I've got all my filters filled out and I preview it, now the report is generated down below for me to preview. Don't like what you're seeing? Go back and adjust your filters accordingly. So the discipline query, good for looking for maybe a specific kind of behavior or a specific consequence. Want to know how many times you've given in-school suspensions? This is a report that could help you. Want to know how many incidents of bullying or harassment you've had in your school? This is a report that can help you find those. The discipline summary. This report, I've got a number of options here. I can look for actions on referrals. I can look for referrals by problem behavior, by staff, by student, by grade, by location, by day of week, by time of day, severity, removal length, etc. One of those reports that I would look at sometimes is referrals by staff. Where are things coming from here? We'll just include all. We'll see what kind of information we have in our database here. So these are referrals in our demo database by staff members, K-12. So I can see where are most of my referrals coming from. I don't know what's going on in Mr. Freed's room, but he's got an awful lot of referrals, Greg.
Probably has a number of those Appleby kids in his classroom.
Yes, that must be the case. You also get a nice graph here. If you like to look at your data visually, you get a nice graph with these reports as well. And finally, the discipline incidents report. These are all your state reportable discipline incidents with their building with the incident number. Just a good way to see all the state reportable discipline items you've had come up over the course of the school year. Anything you would like to add here in terms of the reports, favorites, or how you might have used them, Greg?
Now, just one thing I've told our schools as we do new training is, obviously early on, they're not going to have much data into that. Take a look at those reports when you get a month, 2 months into the school year, play around, it'll make you more comfortable with it and see what kind of information you want and need.
Good advice. All right, let's move on then, and Greg will take us into the internal communication in JMC.
We'll take a look at the office and teacher internal communication in JMC, which is really similar to the discipline module. We'll start by creating internal communication records. Effective communication and collaboration are essential components for academic and social student support. The communication module in JMC Office provides a user-friendly platform to submit and track interactions with families and students. Accurate and up-to-date communication records enable teachers and staff to stay informed and make informed decisions to support student success. By utilizing this feature, all stakeholders can stay on the same page, facilitating collaboration and ultimately providing students with the best possible outcomes. Entering a communication record in JMC Office. To add or edit a communication record by heading to Communication, Data, Edit Student Records in JMC Office. Step 1, select a student by entering their name in the Find field to begin creating a communication record. Step 2, click the Add New button to create a new communication record, or click the Edit button to edit an existing communication record in the communication record list. Helpful tip, select an existing record for the communication records box and click the Edit or Delete button to adjust details or remove a communication record from the current year. Step 3, enter the appropriate information in the date, time, reported by, reason, action, and detail fields to add details about the communication record. Step 4, optional, select the corresponding discipline record from the related referral drop-down list to add a communication record that is related to a documented problem behavior. Step 5, click the Update button to save your communication record, or click the Cancel button to discard your changes. Fun fact, The communication records from prior years box contains details of records from past years to provide the full picture of interactions and observations of a student. Take a live look at editing or editing communication record, Brian.
Okay, here we go. So as Greg said, this is very similar, functions very much like the discipline module, but now we're talking just about internal communication. So it's only going to be viewable by other JMC Office users, and if you share this information make it available to teachers by your staff as well. So if I wanted to create a communication record under Communication, Data, Edit Student Records, I can search for the student that I wish to add the communication record for. We'll just keep using Greg as our example here. See, we've got a number of communication records already created for him. If it were a new one, click on the Create New Record. Again, it's going to populate with the current date and time. Those can be changed if you wanted to. Choose who's making the referral. We're connecting to some related referrals. Is it connected to something that we did? Well, I just entered a referral for Greg today about disrespect. I'm going to connect it to that discipline record. And I think Mr. Freed might have entered that. And now you've got some choices here. And what I like about the communication record, Greg, is it's really flexible. Schools can adapt this feature, this module, to their own needs. So you can decide amongst your staff, what kind of information do you want in reason? What type of information do you want in action? What type of information do you want in detail? This is a great place to keep track of things that are important relative to the student, but not necessarily maybe not rise to the level of a disciplinary action, or they're just the kind of things that you like to keep track of so that you're aware of what's going on in a student's life. Anything in particular come to mind for you, Greg, when you think about use of the communication records?
The thing that I like about it is, school year is a long time, and there's a lot of things that happen. Sometimes you get into January and February and you forget, oh yeah, that happened in August or September. And by documenting all in one place in the JMC communication module, it's an easy place to go look at that, to look at history.
So you could add some additional detail. Maybe the student shared some information with you about something that was going on at home. Maybe that doesn't belong in the discipline record, but it's good information to have about that particular student. Not only for you, that student's teacher to have, somebody for the office to have, and maybe even other teachers that have that same student. Good information to have. That's the kind of information that can be kept in the communication module. And again, it can be adapted for your use. Once I've got all the information in there, I just click Update. I have to put in some detail. I'm just going to throw some nonsense in there. Now I'll update. Now I've got a new communication record for Greg.
And another thing, Brian, is you can put positive things in there too. I think that's really important as well. Looks like Greg's been having some trouble. It might be time in September to put something in there that, Greg really did something nice for another student or for a teacher and so forth. And you're able to document that and communicate it as well.
Well, that's a great suggestion, Greg, because this is the place, and I think especially in maybe in a high school or middle school setting where students have multiple teachers throughout the day. I really find that students behave differently in different classrooms. So this helps create that whole picture of student behavior and give teachers an idea of what's going on with that student. Positive and negative, like you said.
Yep, well said, Brian.
All right, let's move on to merging teacher communication records. Proper and appropriate communication about students among staff is crucial to a school's success. In JMC, you can keep up to date with vital information regarding students. Accept or reject communication records submitted by teachers to help steer the ship in the right direction regarding appropriate student communication. To accept or reject communication submissions in JMC Office, click the Pending Communication Submissions link on the JMC Office homepage, or head to Communication, Data, Merge Communication Submissions. Step 1. Click a communication record in the Pending Communication Records box to select a communication record submitted from JMC Teacher. Step 2. Enter or edit details in the Action and Detail fields to adjust the communication record as needed. Step 3. Click the Reject button to discard the communication submission, or click the Accept button to store the communication record for future reference. Fun fact, accepted communication records can be edited or deleted on the Communication, Data, Edit Student Records page. Helpful tip, want teachers to be able to view accepted student communication records in JMC Teacher? Grant permission on the Teacher tab of the File Online Settings page. Fun fact, upon accepting a communication submission, a pop-up window will display allowing you to send a copy of the communication record to families, advisors, and teachers. Step 4, if you are emailing, place a check mark in the Email Primary Contact, Email Advisor, and/or Email Teachers checkboxes to send an email of the communication record to the families, advisors, and teachers associated with the student. Step 5, also optional, enter an email address in the Email To field to send an email of the communication record to administrators or other key stakeholders. Step 6, optional, enter an email address in the Reply To address field to receive a response to your email. Step 7, optional, enter your message in the Email Message field to include additional information with your attached communication record. Step 8, click the Send Email button to send your message to the selected recipients, or click the Close button to exit the pop-up window. Let's take a look at creating teacher communication records and processing them in JMC Office. So again, in order to get a record to process, we're going to jump over here into JMC Teacher. And just like in Office, the teacher has the ability to create a communication record by going to Communication, Communication Submissions. If I am allowing them to see all students in the school, I can choose my student. We'll take Jim this time. Add a new record for Jim. Date and time defaults. Reason, as like Greg said, sometimes you got to share some good news. So Jim had a great day in class today. He helped another student deal with a problem. You can add some additional actions and details to that record. For the interest of time, I'll just move through those. Now that record can be sent to the office. Just like discipline, it falls here in the pending communication submission box first. It can be edited up until the point it's accepted in the office, and the teacher can see previous communication submissions that have been sent and accepted by the office. Now if I jump back here to the office side of things, here in my pending notifications, there's that pending communication submissions. And just like in discipline, there's two ways to get there. I could click on the link, pending communication submissions, or I can go under in the menu tree on the left, Communication, Data, Merge Communication Submissions. No matter which way I choose, I'm going to end up on this window. Here's the pending communication record for Jim. Now in the office, I have the ability to make edits to that if I want to, and then reject or accept it. When I do accept it, I have the option, and it's purely optional, if you want to share that information with the primary contact, with that student's advisor, with all of the teachers of that student, you can select from those recipients here, add additional email addresses in the Email To box, put a reply email in the Reply To box. They're going to get a summary of that communication record, and then you can add some additional information in this text box as well. Then send that email if you choose to share that, or close it. Again, you can keep this as internal communication if you prefer, but if, and maybe in the case of that positive communication Greg was talking about, you'd like the parent to hear about this, so you have the ability to send that record to a parent as well. Anything you'd like to add here, Greg?
No, it looks good, Brian.
Well, that brings us to the end of our training here today, Greg. I'm Brian Wall, and on behalf of Greg Appleby, we'd like to thank you for choosing JMC, and stay tuned for more trainings.